everyone, welcome to some standing Pilates this week. I'm going to start with feet because our poor wee feet get a bit neglected at the minute. I mean, I don't know about you, I'm walking around barefoot an awful lot, but as for, all that stuff we do at the start of class where we're standing and we're rolling our feet, haven't been doing that quite so much. So maybe you could find yourself, if you've got a spiky ball, then get your spiky ball, golf ball, tennis ball, something. I'm going to use a ball on my first foot and then the other foot I'm going to go ball free, just to show you that you can do it. You don't need something, but if you can unearth a spiky ball, which I know a lot of you have, or a golf ball or tennis ball or something similar, then great. I want you to start just a few little rolls out of your feet. And then we're going to go for our overs and backs. So try to keep that knee long, heels down, and over you go, toes down. Bring it back, heel down, toes down. So you're back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Trying to make sure that your knee doesn't bend, because it will try. And you're trying to really get that dorsiflexion as you draw your toes up, and then that plantar flexion as you point your toes away like a ballet dancer. So you're over and back and over and back. And you're standing tall while you do that. And you end up with this kind of bonus balancing. Certainly work through that supporting hip. Can be really tempting to sort of hang into it, but I want you to stand up out of it. Use your bottom muscles, open up the front of that hip. So just if I turn sideways, so as you can see, you all know this because you've been doing it in class for loads of time now. You're over and back and over and back. And then rest your heel down. Let's go side to side. So let the inside edge of your foot come towards the floor, and then the other side, outside edge of your foot. Again, that knee will try and bend. And it's not the end of the world if it bends a bit, but try to keep it as straight as you can. So to do this, yes, your hip has to rotate, but try and get some of that movement happening at your ankle. And try and get some of that movement happening even within your foot, so that your foot is changing shape as you bring the outside edge of your foot and the inside edge of your foot back and forth. And then, if I turn back to face you, I want you to try and lift. So you're making a fist with all those toes, grabbing onto something. If you've got a ball, great. If you haven't got that, get something. Tea towel, face cloth, sock, something. Grab in, try and lift it. And then set it down, let your toes widen and grab in and lift if you can. Remember, it doesn't actually have to lift. Not overly interested whether it gets off the floor or not, although it is kind of nice when that happens. Really what you're trying to do is get those intrinsic muscles of your feet waking up and working. So whether it stays on the floor or not, you're still getting that intrinsic contraction of all those wee muscles in your feet. Because if we wear shoes all the time, our shoes have loads of support and our feet don't have to do so much. So then they get a bit kind of, well, you can imagine if you don't use a muscle, it's not going to be so strong, not going to be so supportive. So what we're doing here is building a really nice strong foundation. A couple more. And then if you have got a spiky ball, you can really get your body weight in as you roll along the arch of your foot. So you're getting that arch of that foot really woken up. If you're using a golf ball, please do not be too enthusiastic with this. You can see there's a load of give in this ball, and there's not so much give in a golf ball. Just waking up the sole of your foot, getting that plantar fascia, just making it aware that yes, it does exist, yes, it does form the basis of your foot. It's pretty awesome stuff. And then stand that foot down. Oh, I've got one very nice awake foot, one that's still kind of sleepy, so let's go the other side. So I told you I'm going to go ball free on this side. So what did we start with? We started with our overs and backs. So you can go ball free. You can imagine. So you're pointing your toes, you're getting that plantar flexion as you really point like a ballet dancer. And then you're drawing your toes up towards you into that dorsiflexion. So you're rocking one way, rocking the other. I've got next to no weight through this leg. It's all through this leg. So this hip is having to work just to keep me upright, keep me balanced. balanced as it can be. And you can sort of feel that standing foot working. In fact, you can really notice that when you don't have a ball underneath this foot. You can really notice how much this leg just works, keeps you upright. And then let's get that inside and out. So again, no ball here, but what you can do is roll side to side. So you're pronating one way, you're supinating the other. Coming onto the inside edge, coming onto the outside edge. Just moving through your foot, moving through your ankle. I'm not getting as much hip movement here, it's still happening, but not quite as much. And really see if you can find that end zone. Not that you're trying to, you're not trying to spin your ankle, but you're going well over. It's okay to explore that end zone, as long as it's pain-free. And the other way. Couple more. And then you're going to try and lift. What could I lift? Stuff flying about the place. So whatever it is that you want to try and lift, you can try and lift. Let's see if I can lift a band. Just about. So you can see how much balance I'm getting on that working leg, or that standing leg. If you need to hold on to something, hold on to something. But if you can challenge your balance, then do it. Those hips can, they can work on their own. When we walk around the place, we're essentially balancing on one leg, then balancing on the other. So we're just kind of challenging those muscles a little bit more, building that endurance. This is all our kind of future-proofing stuff that we talk about in class. And we make sure that we can keep standing up, sitting down, getting on and off our bed, on in and out of a chair, on and off the toilet. All this important future-proofing stuff that we talk about. Couple more. And then, so what we did on the other foot was roll along the arch of my foot. So if you've got a spiky ball, you can do that. If you don't have a spiky ball, sit yourself down. Give your feet a wee bit of a massage yourself. So I'm taking the sole of my foot, using my thumbs just to work along that arch of your foot. So if you were using a spiky ball, that spiky ball would be rolling along the arch. So that's what your fingers and your thumbs are doing here now. And some bits might not feel so nice. But overall, it's quite nice to get it moving, get it working. You can give your foot a wee bit of a twist if you want. Goodness, you could spend hours just sitting working on your feet. We'll do that someday. Because it's really nice, feel amazing afterwards. But right now we're working on that arch. And then bring yourself back up to standing if you joint me on the floor. Or push your spiky ball out of the way, if that's where you are. And you've got two shiny new feet. And I want you to place them hip distance apart. I want your toes pointing straight forward. I want you standing up tall, so you've got a string pulling you right up out of the crown of your head. And just take a couple of breaths here. Notice that you've got your pelvis on top of your legs, you've got your rib cage on top of your pelvis, and you've got your head perched on top of that. So see if you can bring all of that into a bit of alignment. So your bum's not stuck way out behind you and it's not tucked right under, it's somewhere in the middle. Same with your rib cage, it can be really tempting to jut those ribs out. Make sure they're perched on top of your pelvis, and then your head, especially if you're spending a load of time on screen time, laptops, Zoom calls, all that stuff. Heads are coming forward, so just see if you can bring that on top of your spine and on top of your rib cage. From there, I want you to keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees and straighten back up. So those knees are bending straight over your toes. Hopefully you can see. My knees left to their own devices would collapse in. So I have to really think about sending those knees straight. Now you can keep going with this, or you can add the toe movements in with it. So you're bending your knees, you're rolling onto your toes. Ooh, balance. Heels come down, stand up. Onto your toes, stand up. Bend your knees, onto your toes. Knees bent, stand up. Onto your toes, stand up. Bend your knees, onto your toes. Get the idea? Knees, stand, toes, down, bend, toes. Do you know what? If it all goes a bit wrong, that's okay. You're moving through your feet, you're moving through your hips, you're challenging your balance. If you're coming up and onto your toes, try and get good and high. So it's a good high pair of high heels you're putting on here. And then you take them off and you stand up, and then you put your high heels back on, super high, super tall, and then back down. One more round, forward and down and up and up and down. And maybe your calf muscles are a little bit awake right now. Okay, from here we're going to take this further into a squat. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see. Feet stay hip distance apart. You sit back into an imaginary chair and your arms come forward. And you stand up, press those arms back, squeeze your bum. So you sit down and you stand up. So can you see as I sit down? Hopefully you can see my spine stays long. So keep reaching through those fingertips, press into the floor, stand up. So as you come down, don't be tempted to round. You keep that lift. Now I have a mirror in front of me. As I tip forward, I'm looking down. I'm not looking myself in the eye. And as I stand up, that's where I see myself. So I tip forward and my head follows that line of my spine. And then I press, squeeze, arms come back. And again. And pressing up. So you're not driving your rib cage forward as you come up. You're squeezing your bum, getting your hips forward. Let's have 3 more. Press up. And sit down. And press up. Last one. Sitting down. Energy out through those fingertips. And press through those feet, come back up to standing. Very nice. From here, we're going to sit against, can you see me if I sit against that wall? Kind of disappear, don't they? Let's sit against the door. So I want you to find something, a wall, a door, something like that, sit against it. Now, you could come right the way down to about 90 degrees, but you're going to be here for a while. You might not love that after a while. If you want the challenge, by all means do it. No real advantage in coming any lower. Whoop, sore knees. No real advantage in coming any lower than that. So really that's going to be your limit. But you might be all the way up here. You can be all the way down here. Somewhere that you can stay for a couple of minutes. And the longer I talk, the longer we stay here, right? So from here, just notice where your points of contact are with that floor, or with the wall, with the door. So you've got your bum, your pelvis, some part of your back, your rib cage, maybe your head, maybe not your head, maybe your shoulder blades, maybe not your shoulder blades. Don't force it, just be aware of those points of contact. Let your arms hang down by your side and then take it into rib cage closure. So as you breathe in, your arms sweep up, and as you breathe out, your arms come overhead. Let's have palms facing away from you. I will be surprised if you can reach the door, the wall, without losing your points of contact. Breathe in as they come forward. Breathe out as they come down. If your legs are already shaking, come up a bit. Breathe in and breathe out. So you're only going as far with those arms that you can keep all those points of contact with the wall or with the door. The most tempting thing is for your rib cage to arch, your back to arch, and they can reach the wall. But if I keep my points of contact, can't do that. If you've got amazing shoulder mobility, you might reach the wall. But that would be pretty impressive. I think I'd be needing a video of that if you've got that. And my legs are starting to shake. I'm starting to regret starting so low, but there you go. Let's have 2 more. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in forward, breathe out. This is your last one. If you need a wee break, take a wee break. That is totally cool. And then we're coming into our flies. So I'm going to collide with the walls, but if you can go straight back, right back to full open fly, then that's fine. Breathe in as you open, breathe out to close. As you close, you've got kind of soft elbows here. Breathe in to open, breathe out to close. Just be aware of your shoulders. Shoulders can get up round your ears very easily. So try and let them move down. We've got 4 more of these. Just want you all to know that my quads are really shaking right now. But I feel I've come this far. I need to keep going. 1 more. Breathe in to open. Breathe out to close. Carefully push yourself away from your wall. Hopefully you started up a bit higher than me, because that really did hurt. Just walk out those legs a little bit, give them a bit of a shake. 2 more movements. Maybe 1 more movement. Let's see how we go. I want you to come up onto your toes and set that heel down. So stay on the one leg, and all you're doing is moving up and down through that foot and getting that ankle moving. And then let's go the other leg. So this is easy, but what I want you to get kind of used to is the movement, because we're going to make it both sides in a second, and sometimes the coordination gets a bit challenging. Right now I just want you to kind of wake up your knee joint, your ankle joint, your hip joint, get used to what that feels like, and then we're going both legs. So one is up, and you swap, and you swap, and you swap. Now, you could do this while you wiggle, and you wouldn't really get very far off the ground, and you'd be wiggling, and you'd really know about it in your low back. I want you to be bobbing. So you're bobbing up and down, and bobbing up and down. So you're really having to stand, you know, the toes of one leg, you're really having to stand into those as you bob up and down. If I turn sideways, you can see what's going on. So you're bobbing up and down, and bobbing up and down. Try not to wiggle. It's really tempting, but try not to. Good. And I really want to keep going with this, because at some point your calf muscles are going to remind you that they're working here. So we want to kind of push into that level of fatigue. So it's not just entirely comfortable. The first few you do of this, as long as your feet are happy, it's pretty comfy. And then after a while your calves go, oh, okay. And then your heels start to get a bit lower, but I want you to be up high. Remember, these are high stilettos you're putting on. High, high heels. So you're standing up high. Let's have 4 more each side. Or 4-ish more each side. You know what I'm like with counting. Really standing into those toes, bending those big toes. 1 more each side. And stand down. Very nice. And then from there, your very last movement. It's one that I can't really do, but I want you to try. I put a video out on this, or a thing out on my WhatsApp. Might have been week 1, week 2, something like that. Can we try Mexican waves with these feet? So can you, I'm going to go 1 foot just to show you. If you can do a Mexican wave, it's every toe moving individually, you know. You're trying to do it just your toes without rocking and rolling through your foot. I can't do that, but I've been practicing lifting all my little toes up, so my 4 smaller toes, and set them down. And lifting those 4 smaller toes. So trying to get this control of your feet, and it's a bit weird. I will totally give you it's a bit weird. But that's okay, we're all about weird stuff. And if you can get them all moving, then go for it. If you can go one direction, can you go the other direction? Now what you can do is get your big toe lifting, leave your 4 wee toes behind. I can't do that, but what you can do is put pressure on those wee toes and then your big toe lifts. Some people might call this cheating. I call this regressing the movement so that you can get better at it. So lifting your big toe, leave the wee ones behind. You can do this sat on the floor, watching TV, on all your Zoom calls. You can be sitting training your feet. They are the foundation of your body. They are your contact with the ground. So as much as you can, especially if we are at home all the time, really try and make the most of that. You know, if you can go barefoot, then go barefoot. Please try not to fall down the stairs. I don't recommend that. Try going barefoot in the garden, on the grass, on the gravel, if you're feeling enthusiastic. I have taken to sometimes walking barefoot in the park, which is a bit brave, I think, if you know my local park, but it's, you know, on pitches is fine. I have, I think 3 times, possibly 4 times now, walked home barefoot. Told you, I'm weird. But I also do know someone who walked the length of Ireland barefoot. He's my coach, so I blame him. It's pretty awesome. About 1,000 kilometres, what's that, 700 miles, something like that. Barefoot, from the south coast all the way to the north coast, to Ballintoy. I think he was very happy to see the sea by the time he got there. Let's try the other leg. I'm not anywhere near as good on this side, but big toe stays down, wee toes lift. And if you can Mexican wave, send me a wee video of your Mexican waves, guys, because I'm very jealous of people that can do it. You can see that I've been practicing. Hopefully you can see I've been practicing. Not quite there yet. And then try it the other way around. So if you need to hold your toes down, then do it. See if you can lift that big toe. Something I don't mention very often is I had surgery on this foot when I was a teenager. So it doesn't really behave as I would like. But I do try. And I think that's what we do. We all have something going on with us, right? We all have something unique to us, let's call it that. But we do what we can. Maybe we're not perfect. It's okay, I don't think there's many people are perfect. Would it be much fun? We're all different, so we all work within our own limitations. We all work to our own abilities, but we can all make changes to how we feel, to how we move, and that's what this is all about. So one last one, lift and set down. Walk out those feet, give them a bit of a roll in, roll out. So your pronation, supination, bit of a walk out through your feet. Stand up super tall, feet hip distance apart, spine lovely and long, arms hanging heavy. Pelvis, rib cage, head all stacked, rise up onto your toes, balance. Keep up on your high heels, on your toes, bend your knees. Let your heels come down and lengthen up. Rise up. Use your bottom muscles. Bend your knees. Heels come down. Lengthen up. One more that direction. Rise up, straight up. Bend your knees. Heels come down. Lengthen up, bend. Roll forward. So we're going the other direction now. Lengthen up and control down. Super tempting to plop down. But I want you to control. And see, I'm wobbling. Well, I'm really wobbling now that I mention it. Last one. So bend. Roll forward. Lengthen up. Control back down. Let's finish with our corkscrew. So standing tall, breathe in. Breathe out, your hands come behind your head. Breathe in, shoulders rise up. Breathe out, let those shoulders soften down. Breathe in, elbows back. Breathe out, reach your fingertips away from each other as your arms come down. One more to finish, breathe in. Breathe out, hands come behind your head or onto your chest. Breathe in, shoulders rise. Breathe out, sigh out. Breathe in, elbows back. Breathe out, reach your fingertips away, reach your arms super long. And you're all done. Well done, guys.